Hi, welcome to the Careers Unfiltered podcast with Mentoria. You may know your dream job, you may know your dream career, but do you know what goes on behind the scenes in your chosen career path? Have you been able to separate the glamour from the reality in your career? Do you know the good, the bad, and the ugly in your career? Most people walk into their careers without having any idea in terms of what really happens in that career, how to crack success, how to get the right job, how to grow in the career. Don't be those people. Get the ins and outs of your career path through some of the best subject matter experts and industry professionals that Mentoria will bring to you on the Careers Unfiltered podcast.
Are interested in helping patients, if you want to be in a healthcare industry, this is one of the very good options. And at the same time, you are interested in technology also. You are working with technology, and at the same time, you are in a hospital where you can help patients. Medical physics has several branches. Medical physicists, mostly in India, work in radiation oncology or radiation therapy, to say it. So, but medical physics work in radiology also, radio diagnosis also. You know where you some time of your life you would have gone for an X-ray, right? The calibration of the X-ray machine is done by a medical physicist. Nowadays, it is very mandatory that it is periodically calibrated after the NABH came into all hospital and started looking at how it's functioning. So medical physicists work there too. And medical physicists also work in nuclear medicine, where they use radioisotopes to diagnose cancer and other ailments, right? Opportunities, mostly I think in research and development, there are a lot of opportunities for physics, medical physics. Uh, I started as a physicist. I told you I was MSc Physics. Because of my computing certificate, programming certificate, I was hired. 1.5 years I worked in the hospital with my uh, MSc Physics. Then they asked me to do the radiological physics. Because I already worked for 1.5 years, I knew what is medical physics. So it was a cakewalk for me to do the radiological physics program. The difference is medical physics is application of physics in medicine. How do you apply physics in medicine is medical physics. So the concepts don't change. The physics concepts, how do you apply it? I'll give you an example. When radiation interacts with tissue, I have studied radiation interaction when I was an undergraduate. We used to call it Compton interaction, path production, photoelectric, without understanding what is its implication. I think. So now we know what is Compton and how is it helpful for radiotherapy. What is photoelectric? How is it useful in X-ray imaging? Trying to become a medical physicist, it is very important that he learns about computer programming. What is computers? What does coding means? That will certainly help. Python, knowing any of those softwares will certainly help to be a medical physicist, though that is not the criteria. There are two pathways to become medical physicist, right? Where I actually joined at the Christian Medical College with an MSc in physics. Medical physicists, there are two pathways. One is, as I said, after your master's in physics, take up 1 year postgraduate diploma in radiological physics. There are a few centers doing it, but the pioneers have been Baba Atomic Research Center. The other pathway is after your BSc in physics, take up MSc Medical Physics, which is a 3-year program. That is 2 years plus 1 year of internship. The college or the institution you join is already approved by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, right? They have put it in their website. There are 25 colleges as of 2023, which are approved by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. This is mandatory. You cannot work in a hospital. Research Center have been the pioneers. They started in 1963 or something. They do an excellent job. They do a 1-year program and 1-year internship. That's added on. After that, the internship has to be in a hospital. I would suggest this students to look for an institution which is attached to a medical college or a hospital. so that from day one, they will have access to the equipment. It is very highly technological involved profession. And arts and science colleges conduct medical physics program, which is also approved by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. My personal recommendation, first to try in a hospital-based one. After the 2-year master's program or 1-year postgraduate diploma, you have to do an internship. If you're in a hospital, the internship you will do there itself. They will provide you internship. But if you do it in a college where there is no medical hospital or anything, then you have to search for an internship. You have to go to another hospital to do the internship. Without completing the internship, you cannot register as a medical physicist. Conferences and workshops is one of the best ways of learning about the new things that are coming up. Your analytical skills should be very good. Problem solving skills. Most often you will have to solve problems like, not that every patient is identical, every tumor is the same. Sometimes people will come up with questions, very difficult to answer this. So you need to have an analytical way of looking at it. You must be able to calculate what the dose would be, whether the dose is acceptable or not. You must be able to say, those are some of the things, analytical skills you should have. And precision. You are delivering radiation. A small amount of radiation, excess radiation, can be very damaging for the patient. Like computing, right? You are good at developing coding and all. It will add up to what you are doing. And the other one is the research skill. You must be a good researcher. Medical physics is a developing field. Others are now able to follow and do that. So these type of job satisfaction, which is number one in medical physics. See, I would say two things. Now, so far I have been talking about a medical physicist in radiation oncology, right? Which I have been all my life. Medical physics has several branches. Medical physicists, mostly in India, work in radiation oncology or radiation therapy, to say it. But medical physics work in radiology also, radio diagnosis also. Where some time of your life you would have gone for an X-ray, right? The calibration of the X-ray machine is done by a medical physicist. Nowadays, it is very mandatory that it is periodically calibrated after the NABH came into all hospital and started looking at how it's functioning. So medical physicists work there too. If I say PET CT, you will know better. And gamma camera or SPECT CT. So there also medical physics people work. So there are 3 branches, main branches. Another one is magnetic resonance imaging, MRI. So in India, we don't have a separate branch for medical physics as MRI. The radio diagnostic physicists look after the MRI also. But abroad, MRI physics is separate, right? And then ultrasound. And more to this, the physics also do one important thing called radiation safety officer. A medical physicist can be a radiation safety officer once he passes the radiation safety officer exam conducted by Baba Atomic Research Center. So radiation safety officer job is to ensure that the procedures for radiation safety as outlined by the atomic energy or the national body is properly executed in that hospital. Probably I forgot to mention is as application specialist. Now all these technologies are very difficult to handle. Somebody needs to teach how to use it. So medical physicists become application specialist and go and teach. Their companies hire them to go and teach the hospital that purchased that equipment how to use that equipment. So this is another area where physicists can work. It involves a lot of traveling. Some people like it. So they even leave the hospital and become an application specialist. We have a national association, professional association called Association of Medical Physicists of India. We call it AMPI. We also have a college called College of Medical Physics of India called CMPI, which does only certification of qualified medical physicists. These two groups periodically conduct conferences and workshops, and which we invite people to come and attend, where we talk about the basic science of medical physics as well as the new technologies that have come. Switching career in medical physics is technically possible, but the issue is they have to do the program that is approved by Atomic Energy to become a hospital-based medical physicist. Research scientist, it's okay. You do any medical physics program, even if it is not approved by Atomic Energy. But you want to work in a hospital, you need to undergo this program. So people can switch and go through this 2-year program, but like the one I said in Baba Atomic Research Center, that is being conducted in RCC Trivandrum, also Regional Cancer Center Trivandrum, or 3-year master's program in medical physics in CMC Vellore or in Kidwai. There are so many. I said there are 25 institutions as of 2023 conducted. That is one possibility. But the thing is, it would be better they get into more of people who want to come from another area to this, more of research and development, R&D. The thing is, sometimes we call it reverse engineering. No? So what they learned in another area, is it applicable in medical physics? Can we use that in medical physics? That will be quite interesting. Medical physicist working in a hospital will get a designation as a junior medical physicist. Then he becomes a senior medical physicist and he becomes a chief medical physicist. This is a promotional pathway. And if he does PhD, that will be an added thing for him, right? A PhD is not mandatory to be a medical physicist, but certainly it is an advantage. If you're working in a medical college-based hospital, like I did at Christian Medical College, Vellore, where I was a medical physicist as well as a teacher, assistant professor, associate professor, and then professor. So there is a ladder. You can go up to professor if you're in a teaching institution. At the same time, a medical physicist, senior medical physicist, and a chief medical physicist. So this is the pathway that the ladder you go on in your career, but it depends on where you work. Assume that you are going for a government institution like state government or a central government. The pay scale or very regularized pay scale. You will be, if you are a master's, you'll be in the master's level. If you're a PhD, you're in a PhD level on par with others like a biochemist or a biostatistician or an engineer, right? The pay scale is based on that. Approximately, I think starting pay scale is approximately somewhere around 50 to 60,000. In the central government, state government will be relatively less, somewhere around 40 to 50. But if you go to a private hospital, it is totally different. There you bargain, right? So you have right now, the medical physics person, if he or she has a radiation safety officer exam passed, then it is easily somewhere closer to 90,000 to 1 lakh with just 1 or 2 years of experience. But if you're in AIMS or any, like Tata Medical Center or something, you get a reasonably good pay and there is a possibility of research, possibility of teaching. The multitasking really keeps you, interesting life. You don't do the same thing, monotonous job. You do some teaching, you do some research, you do some clinical work. That makes the person has to choose which one would be better for him. So it will reduce the human intervention by the physicist. So the number of physicists needed will be reduced. So that is one area where it can take over the job of a physics person. But calibration, nobody can do, only a human can do. Checking the linear accelerator, AI cannot check. I will have to go and check, right? Whether the radiation dose is right or something. Unless you make a robot which will take my dose measuring instrument, put it on the LINAC and do it instead of me, it is going to be me doing it. So those areas will not be affected. But where automation due to computing can come in will affect. But again, I tell you, one of the major jobs of medical physicists is quality assurance, to verify whether the radiation is delivered properly. If you bring in AI also, you need to verify whether the AI is doing it properly. Beyond my imagination over the last 30 years, I used to tell my students I'm one of the luckiest physicists which will impact the work of medical physics. One is coming up is what we call the flash therapy. It's very interesting in the sense, if you go and see how radiotherapy was practiced, is practiced as you give 25 days of radiation with small amount of radiation dose. Right. This flash radiation is just in a microsecond, you give the same radiation or several times more than that. So the patient need not come again. Mostly, I think in research and development, there are a lot of opportunities for physics, medical physics. In radiation therapy itself, if you say, the techniques like I started a technique for total body irradiation in my hospital, total body lymphoid irradiation, we used to call it. And this is not in the book. We have to look at literatures and search for publications. And the whole protocol I developed, which they are doing, and now they are also conducting workshops for others how to do the treatment.